Na Ambev, nós entendemos que nossos clientes são heróis. Criaram seus negócios pelo sonho de ter e dar uma vida melhor para suas famílias. E nós estamos aqui para ajudá-los. Apresentamos Zitec, nosso hub de tecnologia. Sistema de compra online com os melhores preços e prazos de entrega. Banco digital com pagamento, crédito e serviços financeiros. Cardápio digital e gestão de filas no celular. A Zitec vai impulsionar o seu negócio através da tecnologia. Conte com a gente.
O Brasil precisa muito dos brasileiros. E nós, do Banco do Brasil, vamos ajudar você e a sua empresa.
Sempre fomos o maior parceiro das micro e pequenas empresas. Não é agora que você mais precisa que vai ser diferente.
Continue contando com as nossas soluções para cuidar do seu negócio.
Pelo chat, por telefone, seja como for.
Nessas horas, um banco tem que ser assim, mais humano do que nunca.
Banco do Brasil, mais que digital.
Então, muito prazer, eu sou o Fabio Zukerman, fundador e CEO do Grupo Planta, é um hub de negócios na indústria plant-based, que atua na área de produção, restaurantes, delivery, distribuição. Nós trouxemos a marca PlantMade ao Brasil, do grupo Matthew Kenney Cuisine, o chefe está aqui conosco hoje. E já vamos estar falando juntos aí. Vamos contar um pouco da história da alimentação plant-based, mais sobre o negócio, como o Matthew entrou nesse setor e como ele vem evoluindo e hoje, como vem crescendo rapidamente. So Matthew, very nice to have you here again. This is the largest Brazilian digital event, all digital this year, of knowledge about food outside the home. It's completely free, digital, and very democratic. That's why we are here this year to talk about veganism, right? And so it's 3 days, right, the event, with show, classes, virtual fair, and it's very nice. So we're going to talk about veganism, which is one of the fastest growing lifestyle choices of the moment. I know for you for a long time. For me, like 7 years that I am living in this world. And let's talk about plant-based food, right? The business. A lot of people still have an idea that vegan food can be bland, and well, that is just not true. And plant cuisine is super exciting, delicious way to eat, and it's healthy for us, for the planet. And I'm very honored and proud to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you, Fabio. Yes, it's great to be here. I wish I could be in Brazil again this year, but hopefully soon. I miss it. But we have a lot of connections with Brazil through our students and in our restaurants and so forth. So we always feel connected, even though we're connected today through the digital world.
Very nice.
So, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So it's nice because Matthew is the chef who brought the high culinary arts, which he meet the art of culinary with plant-based food, and there is currently no fully vegan restaurant with Michelin star, but there are 14 Michelin guide vegan restaurants. Number 1, it's Plant Food and Wine. We also have mentioned 00 Pizza. Nowadays, we have almost 400 million people who declares vegetarian around the world. Here in Brazil, we have 18-20%, which is almost 30 million people. It's a lot of people. So let me know, when did you decided uh, like when were you able to see that you were able to change the future of food? When you did the sentence crafting the future of food?
Yes, well, I'm a classically trained chef and actually opened my first restaurant almost 30 years ago in New York, and it was Mediterranean food. I was always very passionate about health and wellness. So we were trained for many years to think that we need certain ingredients, dairy products and animal products to be healthy. And so I was preparing the food that I thought was most healthy because I have two passions. One is food and beverage and restaurants and culinary art, and the other passion is health and wellness. And over many years, I started to realize that plants were healthier for the body, healthier for the planet. And as a chef, they become more exciting. It's very creative and vibrant, flavorful cuisine. So 18 years ago, I decided to change my career and focus 100% on plant-based food as a chef and also in my own life. And I really believed that it could change the way we think about food. For me, I always found that even though I can go to a nice restaurant and eat food that tastes great, the next day you feel tired. It doesn't feel like making you feel better. It's actually putting you to feel worse. So I really had a vision at this time, 18 or 19 years ago, that I thought chefs could change the whole idea of food so that it's something that's promoting health for people, animals, and the planet. And I worked for many years, about 8 or 9 years, trying to create new ideas, new recipes, new methods to show the world that plant-based can be amazing. And in 2011, I was asked to give a TED talk about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And that at that point, I realized it was very easy to describe what we're trying to do, which is craft the future of food, because we're using our hands, we're using our tools, we're working as craftsmen, like all chefs. And at the same time, we're trying to prepare the world for a different future with food. So for the last 9 years, I've really been focused on making sure we communicate very clearly that we are trying to craft the future of food, not only through restaurants, but through education. And education is sometimes even more important than restaurants because right now, for example, we have 1,000 students in our online school. And all of these students are going to go and cook for their families and their friends and for their businesses. And they're going to change the way people think about food. And then those people will change using their friends. So we really want to work globally as fast and hard as possible to spread the word because it's really life-changing in a very positive way. And I really believe everybody should understand the potential of plant-based.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can see the demand for plant-based foods are growing all over the world, right? And how was the impact uh, for you and your restaurants after COVID-19? I can see this online, the Future Food Institute, and I can see a lot of upcoming opens like Sestina, new concepts. How is the return? So what's the impacts after the COVID-19?
Yes. Well, we have changed the way we operate. The good news is we were already planning to diversify the business so that we're not 100% relying on people coming into a restaurant. We were already working on that. And that means embracing technology and products and services to provide food to people in hospitals or schools or at home. So we're spending more time on those new ideas on education. We're creating a content subscription model that will be, with Food Future Institute, we expect to have about 6,000 students by the end of the year. And with the subscription content model, we want to be able to reach a few million people every year. That's going to be something that's more accessible to the public. And we're launching a meal kit business that will be nationwide. We'll be combination of video and recipes and products and so forth that will work nationwide. We're working with a lot of consumer packaged goods companies to develop more products. But I still love restaurants. I always loved restaurants and I believe in them. We are just operating in a different way. We have a bigger percentage of delivery and pickup. And we're being very careful about our expenses and so forth, and are operating a little bit smaller hours. So for example, Plant Food and Wine is our home-based restaurant. We used to be open every day, lunch and dinner. Now we just do dinner 5 nights and brunch on weekends. Smaller team, smaller menu, and it's working well. We just had to make a lot of adjustments, but we also believe this is a very good time for plant-based because people are paying more attention to their health and trying to do things to improve their immune system. So we're very positive about what's happening. We're probably one of very few groups that are still opening restaurants. We had one, I guess, last week or two, and another one next week. In September, we opened 2 more restaurants after that. Because we really believe that maybe it's going to be hard for a few months, but if we're giving something to people that make them feel healthy and we're doing something good for the environment, we want to keep going very fast, but at the same time being safe by trying other things.
Yeah, we know that the food, it's one of the main two against this planetary degradation. So yeah, for us also here in Brazil, PlantMade in March the 13th, it was a record, and every day a new record, and then we closed the door we had to close, and we were about to open our kitchen central, because we were about to open 3 new stores locations inside shopping malls. Remember, you came here last year. We went to a shopping mall to open PlantMade, and then everything changed, and our central kitchen turned into a green kitchen, which is a cloud kitchen, and which operate food delivery, like food as a service, and we share our kitchen with PlantMade, Why Not by Notco, which is a burger, and we have the Not Burger, is a fast food concept, and Plant Pizza. We are doing a lot of new recipes with meatless products. So I know we have a lot of innovations in this industry. I think the burger, like Impossible Burger and Beyond Burger, it was a big wake-up call. But nowadays I can see every day new items, plant-based, like sausage and burgers. Every time I can see more clean labels coming to the market because it's technology. I see that these products, we talk about a lot about food techs. So technology is technology, like cell phone. When they launched the first cell phone, it was super expensive and the system very low, and the price it's coming down, and the system is getting better every day. And I can see nowadays food this in the same way, receiving updates, every day with better ingredients. So we work with a type of food that if doesn't exist in the nature, it's not food for us, and we don't work, right? It's our it's something that we plant-made. It's whole food plant-based. So a lot of people talk about plant-based food. We have whole food plant-based, which use the whole food, and plant-based. Can you tell us how do you see the difference? Explain us the difference between whole food plant-based and plant-based.
Yes, well, for me, most of the food we do is whole food plant-based, meaning that everything is really coming from a plant and could be eaten by itself. Every ingredient could be eaten alone. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, nuts, seeds, sprouted grains and legumes, and sea vegetables.
Right.
And that to me is whole food plant-based. Of course, vegan or plant-based includes many other things, including ingredients that are more processed, such as soy and tofu and tempeh, and now, of course, becoming more popular, plant-based meats and chickens and seafoods. And I think they're both very important because a lot of people, the majority of people are not ready to just go from a standard diet directly to a whole food plant-based. It's a very big transition. And the alternative meats like Beyond and Impossible have given people the opportunity to realize they can still hold on to that flavor or that experience of eating a burger if that's important to them. And it's also become a very, as you mentioned, it's becoming financially a much better model. And it's important if the world is going to become plant-based, the financial aspect has to work. The health has to work, the financial has to work, the media has to talk about it and write about it. And these companies have been given a lot of attention by the media and by the financial markets. So it's been a big bridge to bring people to the plant-based world. And then once you're in plant-based, of course, for me, I want to be super healthy and eat as clean as possible. But however we have to get there and change the way we're thinking about food is fine with me.
Yeah, and now I can see everybody, right? Now the biggest companies are on the boat of the meatless industry, seeking profits, of course, but at the same time lowering carbon footprint. And how do you see this market?
Well, I think it's in a very early stage. I think that, you know, I can tell because, for example, we ran a school. We opened our first online culinary school in 2012, and it took about 6 months to get 100 students. And our new school we launched in May, and we had 500 students in 1 week. So the audience is much bigger. Our restaurants are much busier. Even like Double Zero, our pizza restaurant, is ahead of last year by 12%, even with no dining room, because so many people are coming for pickup, delivery, eating outside. The demand is much higher. And I think that now that the financial markets are paying attention and the media is paying attention, then we will have more people who are being educated about the potential and the benefits of this. And I think this market is still very early. I think that there will be a complete global food paradigm shift over the next few years, probably the next 3 to 5 years. And what I mean by that is, instead of a typical grocery store or restaurant where it's 80% meat and fish and 20% vegetable options, I think when you go to a restaurant in the future, any restaurant almost, it's going to be 85% or even 100% plant-based and 15% animal-based. And I think that this is already happening. I'm seeing this on menus all over the world. When I was in Brazil with you, we went to Dom and had one of the best meals of my life by Alex Atera, and completely plant-based. And I think a lot of very intelligent chefs like him around the world are embracing this, and that's going to make this change happen much faster.
So you said we are in the very early stage. I heard from Kimball Musk. He said that food is the new internet. Do you agree with him?
Yes, I mean, for me, I started this path almost 20 years ago, and I've seen a very slow growth, but now it's like fast. And I think that, yes, it could be the new internet in a way. Should have been already, because it's obvious that food choices impact the health of the planet, the people, the animals, the environment, the air quality, pandemics. It's very
Yeah,
obvious to me. So I think it's really our opportunity as a global society to do the best for our planet and make the most intelligent decisions. So,
yeah,
you know, I just hope everybody realizes that as soon as possible.
yeah. It's a big emergency. Yeah, I remember last time you came here. You were in Brazil, here in Sao Paulo. We did an amazing photo shoot with the gastronomy photographer Sergio Coimbra, and you and the Brazilian fruits. What do you think about this Brazilian biodiversity?
I think it's incredible. I mean, two places in the world that I've seen the most diversity is in Brazil and Colombia. Um, and I could those fruits from that shoot, I could live on those. They're just the fruit we have here. Of course, now it's summertime, so we can get some good berries and watermelon and things. But those fruits are full of so many incredible nutrients and energy. Um, I think it's just amazing because the things we're working for are not only in a laboratory, they're in our forest and in our land. So we really have to start looking more locally to solutions. And that's why I love what's happening in Scandinavia, the chefs in Denmark, for example. Many of them will only use ingredients they can find within, 30 miles, 50 miles from their restaurant because these things are there and available to us and they're not expensive. So I was amazed at how not only how many different products there were, but how incredibly tasting they were and beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. Uh, so now we are living, of course, in the US. I think the restaurant they are returning faster than here. We are starting to reopen now. Like last week, it was allowed to restart to open the restaurants. So we felt a lot of difference, of course, between on-premise and off-premise. For us, it's a big advantage to live in the on-premise. We had a lot of experience. I can see a lot of new restaurants, uh, coming in this digital new, a new way. It's different. They born into a digital world. So I think for us, it's nice to bring the experience on premise to off premise. So let me know how it works in the US. This delivery platforms. There are many platforms, or one which is the most famous or most popular in the US, or and also how is the dark kitchen business with these platforms? I can see here a lot of new dark kitchens, cloud kitchens, uh, light kitchens, ghost kitchens, a lot of different types of digital kitchens. How is this
Yes,
business in the US and also these platforms?
it's
There are new
in the
platforms.
there are many. So first, in restaurants in the U.S., we are in New York and and California. We can only serve tables outside. Fortunately, we have outside gardens in most of our restaurants. So, and it's summertime, so the weather is good. But we are not serving inside right now. And some restaurants we still did not reopen, like Chicago, because they will only allow 25% of occupancy. So it doesn't make sense to open yet.
Yeah,
But most of our places we are doing delivery. We have many platforms here. We have Uber Eats, we have Postmates, we have Seamless Web, Grubhub. The other big one is DoorDash, and there's probably 5 or 6 different platforms. So many of our restaurants are using 3 or 4 different platforms. We also do food for pickup because many people like to come to the restaurant to pick it up themselves because they're neighbors, they don't want to wait for a delivery person, or they do not want so many people handling their food, so they would just come directly. In in one of our biggest businesses in Plant City, which is a food hall, uh, we've been very busy, and we created a takeout window. We created 2 outdoor dining areas that are safe distance, and we also started an app for the iPhone, like an application. You download the app and you can place the order on our app, and we have many drivers, and we do our own deliveries so that we do not have to rely on the services. And we have 25,000 downloads of this app or something like that. So it's very popular, and we don't have to pay a big fee to the services, which allows us to give a better service to our customers and also to give better prices. But in the US, it's big business right now. The delivery service, not only for food, for anything. Like if I want to get food for my cat, I go online.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice. We are learning a lot, to how to take the experience to their homes, with especially with raw food. I'm thinking about here. We have to learn a lot, and you told me now a few minutes ago about that you are working with a short menu. I think this is one of the big secrets in the delivery industry. We have to have a small menu, right? And see how this food uh, uh, stay in the box. Like how do you can deliver it to someone with the highest quality as possible. And it was I believe that it's also something new for you, how to deliver a raw lasagna. uh, so it's not easy, especially here in Brazil, that we have much more motorcycles than cars. I remember in the
Yes.
US, I have the privilege to live in the US for almost 4 years, and at that time I was almost 300 pounds. Dani, my wife, uh, she turned vegan in 2013. I took 4 years more for my transition, but I used to go in your restaurants, especially at Plant Food and Wine, and it was a big power for me, to see how easy uh, was eat vegan food or plant-based food, and feel well, feel good, and after dinner, have a romantic night, different from a barbecue place here. So, uh, and a lot of people, when you talk about vegan restaurants, they think about or someone asks, "What kind of restaurant is this?" "Oh, this is a vegan restaurant." "What kind of pizza is this?" "This is a vegan pizza." And you brought many different types. You show the world that it's possible to open a vegan Italian restaurant, Mediterranean, a Japanese. Actually, one of the best Japanese I have ever had was Arata. Pizza, Italian, Mediterranean exist. A lot of, so you show everybody that it's possible to have a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, but plant-based. So it's not it is vegan, but this is a Italian concept. This is, so what do you recommend for people who wants to look for this industry, or invest in restaurants, or to look, what do you recommend for these people who are looking to invest in this business, hospitality and
Yes, I
product?
think yes, I think that the good news is the market is growing so fast that all levels are going to keep growing. And in hospitality, of course, the fine dining is a little bit more challenging right now. But for example, we're opening a drive-through. Like McDonald's has the you stay in the car and you go to the window, and we're opening a vegan drive-through in Orange County in California, and it will be like going to Taco Bell or Burger King, but of course all the food is for the most part whole plant-based, and but very fast, 4 minutes to drive through and get your food. So I think these kind of making plant-based more accessible to people is going to be the most important strategy for investors to invest in cloud kitchens, in products, in fast casual meal kits, and also all of the things that support plant-based, whether it's media, like for example, Game Changers, very successful film, and Netflix is getting behind a lot of plant-based films, and education. I think the whole education system will change. If one of the things I'm most passionate about is that I believe every school, for high school, elementary school, should have programs to help children understand where is the food coming from, how do we make food choices, how does that impact our body, how does it impact the planet, and that can change the world because we are not giving enough attention to children yet. So I think that's a big area of opportunity. If people would invest in education, could be a very good return, not only financially, but a good return to the world.
Yes, and also I believe invest in something that they really believe, what their heart, they need to listen their hearts and invest in something they truly believe. And I think something that brings a smart money, money that helps everybody, all the stakeholders, even the clients, the customers, our employees, our suppliers, and also, of course, the planet. Yeah, actually, we are. I was thinking about what you said. I think we have to talk and break our traditions because it's an emergency. So we have a lot of traditions that I can see this new generation. They come with a shift. It's different. They like dark chocolate, different from my generation, which used to like much more milk chocolates. And I can see I have 3 kids, and it's unbelievable, but they prefer dark chocolates than milk chocolates. And I can see this, it's different very fast, these people, I can see people talking to their parents here, asking, please take out the bacon from the beans. So we have to break traditions. So it's how was your transition? Because I know for how long have you been living in this world, and how was your transition?
Well, for me, it was incredible because I I was transitioning slowly. I stopped eating red meat, and then I was eating more fruits and vegetables, and then not even too much fish, not really much dairy. So that happened very slowly for me, but I kept feeling better each time I removed something from my diet and brought in more plants and fruits and vegetables. I would feel a little better. And then when I made complete change, this was many years ago, 18, 19 years ago, everything changed. I have had more energy, like my brain was clear. I felt like younger. I felt like lighter. Um, and I felt excited and passionate about my work because as a chef, I knew I loved being creative, but I was not excited anymore about cooking a chicken on a grill, and like any chef can do that, and that also doesn't really help anything. So it was very, very exciting for me as a chef when I realized how good this could feel, and that I knew very clearly what I had to do. I had to find a way to make this food beautiful, to make it fashionable, to make it delicious. That was very simple. That was my job. The work, of course, was very hard, but the idea was very simple. So I think it was the best point of my life because I felt great personally, but also for my profession. I was the most excited I've ever been because I knew exactly what my responsibility was, and I just had to do the work, which is very easy to do the work if you know why you're doing it and you're passionate about it.
What year did you start to work with plant-based food, to focus
It
in
was
plant-based food?
around 2002.
2002. Well, yeah, 18 years ago. I remember to see pictures when you cooked to Gisele Bündchen.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a long time. Yeah, very nice. And yeah, it's nice. It's crazy how fast it's growing, this business, and the big companies and restaurants adding veggie options, right? It's very, very nice. And can you tell us a little more about before plant-based food? I remember you came to Brazil to work here in not non-vegan restaurants, right? Can you tell us about this part of your life when you were a chef, but you came to Brazil to learn, I think, coxinha or feijoada, right?
Yes. Yes, I've always had my whole career, I've always had a pretty strong connection to Brazil from the beginning and still today, not only because of our partnership, but, and I will talk about that in a moment, but for example, our website or our social media traffic is, hundreds of thousands of people, and the top cities we're visiting our platforms are New York, Los Angeles, São Paulo. Brazil is the number 2 country outside of the US that visits our website. We have a lot of students from Brazil, so it's always been a big part of my work. But in 1991, I got my first job as a chef, and it was in a restaurant in New York, Italian restaurant called Allo Allo. I guess it means hello, right? And the owner was a famous, he's still very well-known entrepreneur from Rio de Janeiro, Ricardo Amaral. I didn't know
Ricardo
him. I was
Amaral,
hired by the manager. Yeah. And then I met him, and I changed the whole restaurant because they were serving a lot of food that was not fresh, and he did not know this. He's not a chef. But I went in the kitchen, and I was very disappointed that the food was coming from cans and boxes and frozen. And so I changed everything, and the restaurant turned around and became better. And Ricardo was very happy, so he asked me to be the chef of the new, like a very high energy Brazilian American restaurant that he was building in New York. He had the original in Rio. It was called Banana Cafe, and he
Banana
wanted to open a
Cafe.
Banana
It was a
Cafe.
classic
Yeah.
here, yes.
So then he
Great.
wanted to open that one in New York. So I came to Brazil, 1991, I think, and I tried all of the food: feijoada, picadinho, muqueca, pão de queijo, feijoada, everything. And my job was to come back to the US and remake these recipes so that they could be more suitable for American palate. And so that was my first experience. And then after that restaurant, I opened the very first restaurant where I was the owner, and Ricardo was my business partner. So he was my backer in this restaurant in 1993. And our manager was from Brazil. The designer was a very well-known designer, Sig Bergerman from São Paulo, and
Sigi Bergamin, right?
he designed my first 4 restaurants. We became friends as well, and then later in my life, we had one of my colleagues. She was working right beside me for many, many years. Juliana was also from if I'm saying correctly, Minas Gerais.
Minas.
She's
Minas
yeah,
Gerais, right?
yes. And then I met you, and so it's great. Like, we've always had a connection to Brazil, even though it's so far away.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember first time I met you, it was beginning of 2018. I was a big fan of you, Danny also, of course. And we used to live in Florida at that time. And we met you in inside a restaurant that you have used to. There is a hotel in Miami. Inside a hotel, I forgot the Ganzenwoord. It's the old Ganzenwoord, right? The hotel. But I remember I met you there.
It's the one hotel, yeah.
Yeah, one hotel, right. And it was really, really funny, a big coincidence, because we were looking for something, to do in this business, because we always we were looking for something that brings health, for the people, for the planet. Danny was teaching her friends how to do oat milk and cashew milk, and then when we met you, I used to go in Plant Food and Wine. I knew that you own more restaurants, but after our meeting, we changed message, and you sent me your business deck, and it was a big surprise for me when I saw how many things at that time you were working, like not only restaurants, but like 13 books and online school, products, consulting for hospitals. And when we saw everything, we said, we have to do something much more than a restaurant in Brazil, because it's an emergency. You have track records. We have to bring your expertise to Brazil and show them how great results you had with this job, helping to build a plant-based menu for hospitals. And I can see nowadays, even here in Brazil, after a surgery, they serving processed foods like juice and cookies, and after a surgery. And we decided to, I invited you to come to Brazil, remember, like in beginning of 2018, and we planned 2 events here, one dinner and one lecture. I was expecting like friends for this lecture, and for this dinner, like 20-30 people. And when people realized that you were coming to Brazil, we started to receive invitations. Come here in my restaurant for this dinner with Matthew Kenney. Let's do this lecture here in this room, because here you can have an audience for like 80 people, 100 people, and then we did a lecture for 500 people, which it sold out in 1 week. Remember, at IMB Morumbi, an invitation from Rosa Moraes. So I want to thank her again here, and also a dinner at Iguatemi for like a lot of guests. It was really, really, really nice. It was a big surprise for everybody. A vegan restaurant in Higienópolis, which is a neighborhood. I think it was one of the first fully vegan restaurant in Higienópolis. And let's talk more about PlantMade. So this concept that we started here in Brazil, because during the lecture, we told that we were about to open Plant Food and Wine, but we decided to go for PlantMade. And PlantMade, it was like a small cafe with toasts and sweets in New York. Then we brought to Brazil a full version of PlantMade. We did many with, of course, Gustavo and Victor, the chefs, which used to work with you in the US. They came back to Brazil, our chefs, and with you, of course, we did many new dishes for the Brazilians, like mac and cheese and burger, pão de queijo. So we did a pão de queijo here in Brazil. And PlantMade was a big success until nowadays. It's a big success, only digital at this time. We are working only delivery. But in the US, PlantMade turned into frozen food now. So you have PlantMade frozen foods, which was one of the best of show last Natural Products Expo West in Anaheim. PlantMade frozen foods won top 10 best of show. And now I see that you are selling at Amazon, right? For nationwide, everywhere, PlantMade frozen foods. Can you tell us more about PlantMade foods in the US and maybe here one day in Brazil, if we're going to have PlantMade frozen also here in Brazil?
Would be great. Yes, PlantMade, the idea was to create the foods that people eat every day, like mac and cheese, cacio e pepe, a burrito, or a enchilada. One of my favorite dishes is the buffalo cauliflower. It's so easy to, and we wanted to create a product that was easy for people in the home, that was more stable, shelf stable, and also very fair price, because there's so many people that they're eating in a hurry, or college students that don't have big budgets for food and they still want really healthy ingredients. And frozen foods is sometimes easier because it's easier to transport it and easier to prepare it at home. So we started the line with about 30 different items, and we're looking at expanding the line to include other items that are not just frozen, but like sauces and for me, for example, my favorite mac and cheese, well, I prefer making it home by myself, but my favorite is one that's actually a box package that you add olive oil and water and you cook it, and it's incredible. So we're trying to do some box packages, but the whole idea about plant-made foods is accessibility, making it available to everybody nationwide. And hopefully, like Fabio said, come to Brazil as well.
I wish. And everybody, for sure. Yes. So what else? Let's talk more about this industry. So it's growing very fast. It's funny because I can see like big fast food chains adding plant-based options. And as you said, there is a big revolution running everywhere with products like meat and dairy products. Let's talk a little more about dairy. And also, of course, 100% plant-based. So a lot of people say that vegan food, it's real expensive. It's for for a few people. And of course, especially here in Brazil, I think they have to make a different question. Why is this so cheap? And also, they don't make the account with medicines, remedies, and for also the cost for the planet. But especially, of course, here in Brazil, we have many different types of beans, and I can say here like more than 50 different types of beans. And
wow.
I tell everybody that the food is not expensive. Vegan food, it's the food that you find probably in your corner at the market, the feira, we say in Brazil. Everywhere we have these markets, with booths.
Yeah.
So it's not. I think they are talking about processed foods. And what do you think the price of this new vegan options? And what is your answer for these people which find that vegan food is expensive?
Yes, that's why I like whole plant-based because it's not expensive. For example, I love sweet potatoes and yams, and I can buy a big sweet potato, and I love broccoli, so I can buy one head of broccoli, one sweet potato, and it's a big bag of mushrooms, and make a nice sauce with tahini, and the cost is like a few dollars, like much cheaper than any kind of like steak or burger in a grocery store.
Mhm.
And as long as you're buying fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds that are in season and local, it's not expensive. It's just, I think the reason that the people think that is because in the beginning, the only way to get plant-based food, because nobody knew how to cook it, they didn't have recipe books or education. So the only way to eat plant-based fancy food was to go to a restaurant. And of course, restaurants are more expensive. Um, it's like any other cuisine. You can spend a lot of money to have a dinner at Dom, or you can go home and make a regular meal that, in one big casserole for the family for just a few dollars. I
Yeah.
just think it's a process of education. And actually, the next one of the new courses we're doing for FFI, for Food Future Institute, is going to be Food Future Institute at home, because we're going to make them beautiful and innovative, but these are going to be recipes that do not require specialty ingredients, dehydration, fancy equipment. It's going to be the
Yeah.
way people would eat at home. Very easy, very fast. So I think education is the real solution to
Yeah.
this perception, and that's actually one of my next projects.
Yeah, for sure. I think education, it's something that we have, to, yeah, you, as you said, education, because some people say that it's expensive, like cashew milk or almond milk, and but if they do by their, by yourself, they will pick up like a punch of cashew and put it in the liquid the liquefy, right? How do you say? Sorry about my English, but
Yeah, in the blender.
the blender, the blender. But they don't know, if you put in the water and wait like 12 hours, it will gain a lot and it will be cheaper. And oat milk, it's much cheaper, and the benefits of the oat has a lot of protein. People, they first, and also it's not only the question why it's so expensive, it's also where is the protein. So we can find in the nature everything we find in the meat, like water, uh, protein, fat. And so talking about this, so this questions about the vegan food, it's expensive, and dairy. I was talking about dairy. uh, a lot of people say that all vegan dairy has cashew, and I saw that you have many options, and we are bringing also here to Brazil many nut-free dairy options. What are the options for nut-free dairies that you have in
Oh, there's
your
so many.
portfolio?
Yeah,
Yes.
we have, well, first of all, you can use vegetables, seeds, grains. So, for example, at Double Zero, we have a mozzarella based on rice that is so inexpensive to make, and it's
Nut-free,
really very good and nut
no
free
cashew.
completely. Um, no cashew,
So
no nuts, just rice. And
probably the price also should be less than, a cheaper
yes,
cheese than, yeah, very nice, a rice based cheese.
we also have a company that we're a partner in, a company called Siva, which means seed, I think, in Latin. And
Mm-hmm.
Siva is a pumpkin seed beverage that is using a seed instead of a nut. And we also make a protein powder from the pumpkin seed, and we're going to make a tofu also from the pumpkin seed. So it's very interesting. And then I have had cheeses that are based on cauliflower, on potato, on yam, and it's getting more and more creative every day, and really incredible. So I love nuts. I like them, but they are a little more expensive, and a lot of people have
Mhm.
trouble with too many nuts. So we're continuing to work on multiple options using seeds and vegetables.
Yeah, you said about tofu. A lot of people say that, oh, I don't like tofu. But when someone say that they don't like tofu, uh, I think tofu is much better than raw meat without any season. So they have to learn it. It's education, you know. If you use the right season and grilled and you can make many different types of tofu. It's super rich and a lot of protein and very nice. And also you can make by yourself, make home tofu, right? It's not hard to
Yes,
make
make
tofu.
tofu. And tempeh is very good. You can make tempeh from grains, from different legumes, and so forth. So yeah, it's there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, okay, Matthew, it was a big pleasure to have this conversation with you, and I want to thank the organization of this Congress, Abrasel, everybody involved in this project. And that's it. Something else you want to say something more?
I just want to say, send a hug to all of our friends in Brazil, and thank you, Fabio, for having a vision, you and Danny, to bring this work to Brazil, and for the organizers of the event to include plant-based. And I hope next year I can be there physically.
Oh, I wish soon celebrate life in person out here and there. Also, I want to visit these new concepts like Sestina in New York, this pasta bar, and all these new concepts like that Baya, right? What you have the next upcoming opens just to
Uh,
finish our conversation here.
yeah, last week we opened Baya and also Woodblock, which is Japanese. It's beautiful, beautiful sushi. It's a really incredible Japanese concept. And then New York next week, I'm very excited about Sestina because it's a all handmade pasta. You can see the pasta being made in the dining room, like
Wow.
the noodles, um, and small plates, and we're going to do meal kits as well. So if you order pasta at home, you get the fresh pasta, the sauce, the garnishes, and also an instruction card to make it very fast at home. So Sistine is exciting, and then in September we're opening Sutra, which is a raw food restaurant on Fifth Avenue in New York, and Hungry Angelina, New York. And we have many projects this year. We're doing a Ayurvedic restaurant in Florida called Air, um,
Los
and
Cabos,
well, too many. Los
in Los
Cabos will
Cabos.
be right after the new year, and our restaurant in Buenos Aires, Mudra, we were almost ready to open, and then pandemic, COVID. So
They went back.
Mudra is still Mudra will open in a couple months, hopefully, a few months. But yeah, we have a
So
busy year. We have something opening every month.
very nice to hear all these new concepts and new opens right in this moment, this pandemic moment, and new opens after COVID-19. So it's good to hear, and and take this optimism to everybody, and very nice to
It's
hear
like
everything.
surfing. It's like surfing, Fabio. When you have a storm, there's a much bigger wave.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah, we are all in the same storm, only in
Yes, for sure.
only in different type of boats. But we
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you soon in personal and celebrate life and have a cacio e pepe and a great natural wine. Thank you very much.
Pão de queijo. Thank you.
Pão
Okay,
de
bye-bye.
queijo, right? Thanks, Abrasel, mesa ao vivo. Thanks, everybody.
A Ticket faz parte do dia a dia de milhares de estabelecimentos como o seu em todo o Brasil. Mais de 7 milhões de pessoas estão com nossos cartões para almoçar ou fazer compras em um estabelecimento credenciado. Mas nossa parceria vai muito além disso. Queremos estar cada vez mais junto de você, nosso parceiro. Estamos juntos para somar esforços, ideias e recursos para o que você mais precisa. Ticket Junto. Nosso negócio é apoiar o seu.